everybody. Welcome to the Armory today. Another fantastic Saturday afternoon. Got to enjoy a little Thanksgiving. A little bit late because some people work all the days. So I just finished an 8-day work week, and we're having a lot of fun with my one day off this week. And it's cold and it's snowy in Colorado, and my daughter just stopped by, so I'm very late and very, very alternatively late, as some would say. And she's sitting right over here enjoying a few minutes before she gets to go to work and save the world from all the terrorist scum that want to do us harm.
You mean all the homeless people that inhabit abandoned places?
Yes, and all the homeless people that inhabit abandoned places. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Oh, we are having a wonderful evening. Joe, how are you? Oh, fantastic day. Doesn't get any better than this. It's cold. I've got a propane heater going. I just ate a whole lot of food and feeling very lethargic, but it's a good Saturday for a good live stream, and I think it's a good time just to BS and just have a good time. Been a long day, had a lot of stuff to do. I know what those days are like. Thankfully, I was very lazy today. I slept and slept some more and relaxed. So I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. It was a really, really good time to get together and eat with everybody and have a good time. And of course, always saying a prayer for everybody that volunteered to keep the world safe from terrorists and flying flaming cars at the northern border. Yep, remember everybody who cannot go home, not just because of work. Even though I worked, I still got to come home on Thanksgiving Day. But I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. So let's see here. What do we have today? Oh, I got an update on my PSL. I actually have a video of my PSL actually shooting. Sadly, it does not cycle. Yet. Right now, it's a really expensive single shot. Hopefully, it'll be a semi-automatic soon. But I actually have a video of it going boom and creating fire, and that right there is what dreams are made of. Yeah, that car at the border is seriously sus to me, too. And the legitimate reporting on the car at the border just gets more weird as it goes on because it's questioning my sus. I guess it was a Bentley. Now, I don't know if Bentleys are necessarily a good choice for the terrorists at large. But yeah, evidently it was a Bentley. And for some reason, it sped into a barrier and went airborne in flames and exploded. The passengers were in their 60s, according to the latest police reports. Yeah, I didn't think it was necessarily a boomer type explosion. It really seemed to be more of a flaming ball, but we've all also seen bombs that fizzle. Bombs that fizzle kind of do the same thing. So it's the size of the explosion is not necessarily determinant, but there's so much weird about that story that it is what it is. Sometimes there's just weird ass shit that happens in this world. So it may just be chalked up to flying flaming Bentleys. Remember, folks, public service announcement, don't buy Bentleys. They catch on fire and jump. Oh, so that was exciting. Not nearly as exciting as my PSL. Very happy for my PSL. I want my PSL to be done. It is so much exciting for me. But we also keep getting wins in the gun world when it comes to our fantastic court system and our retarded legislators. So there was the Maryland permitting law and statute that they passed and tried to push down, and that got shot down in flames. And that makes me so happy. They are losing left and right, but they're getting creative. Don't forget that right here in my home state of Colorado, they said that the act of purchasing your firearm does not actually fall within the realms of the Second Amendment. So they're getting creative. Admittedly, they're getting really creative. So it is still a problem, but we are winning in the higher courts. Joe, my money is on the battery rupturing, the acid segment. It's very possible. I mean, the minute it hits something, you've got sparks and you've got all kinds of stuff going on. Gas tanks are not that strong. They will rupture very easily. Let's all reminisce about Pintos. We all know the story of Pintos. A minor rear end collision, and you're a butterball turkey along for the ride. And then the Chevrolet pickup trucks with the side saddle gas tanks outside of the frame rails. Yeah, it does not take much to rupture a gas tank, and when you hit something, sparks go flying everywhere. It's I would be curious as to why the vehicle was traveling at the speeds it was traveling to get airborne like that. It was moving. It was moving really well. But like I said, there's so much weird about this. It could just be what it is. It could just be a car accident. To be fair, the Pinto wasn't terrible, but most compact cars of the era were just dangerous. Show me a compact car today that's not dangerous. I mean, they literally had to make a death trap and call it smart. And yeah, probably reflects on the people who purchase them more than the vehicle design itself, but it is what it is. Yeah, all compact cars. I mean, let's face it. Soccer moms were right. Big SUVs keep you safe. But fantastic times. So I also caught a video that the proposition in Oregon has failed the court's test. And that was just a jumble of all kinds of messy and nasty and disastrous gun laws, magazine capacities, and what is a regular, a readily convertible, or whatever terms they use, magazine in order to hold higher capacity and such as that. Yeah, that went down in flames as well. As always, Washington gun law has some great breakdowns of the wins and the losses that we're taking, because it's not all roses. But yeah, Washington gun law. And my girlfriend actually suggested that I put links in my description, and I'm going to have to do that um, just so everybody can know where to find stuff. But until I get um, my boomer self uh, working with the computer and doing stuff like that, yep, I'm a boomer. It is what it is. Um, but I'll try to get some links in there so you guys can see what is good and what is not so good about our current workings in the court. But
Well, luckily you have two Gen Z children
oh
that
yeah,
are very inept in computers.
oh yeah, I got two Gen Z kids that are, or four of them actually, that are
Yeah.
well adept to computers. Um, but one of them has a job and never has time for her poor old papa, and the rest of them have gaming and such that is way more important than my boomer ass on the interwebs rambling about boomer stuff that is not nearly as fun as Minecraft or Mario or whatever those kids are into nowadays. So, yeah, lots of fun, lots of fun. I also got my Firestar little pocket pistol recoated this week. Had it Cerakoted at the gunsmith. Did a beautiful job. I'd love to show you. It's sitting right there. But YouTube frowns upon showing firearms on a live stream. So we've got a video coming up showing the greatness that is Cerakote, because that will be awesome. And little pistol looks great. And as always, they did a fantastic job. And I could not be happier. They do me good every day. So, fun times, fun times. And then, if you're traveling the interwebs, you might see that Brandon Herrera, the great candidate for the House of Representatives out of Texas, managed to crash a gun buyback in San Antonio, Texas. And something that caught my ear in that video, the police received a new in the box transferable Uzi at a gun buyback. Oh, Joe, ooh, those old Firestars were fun. Yes, they are. They're one of my favorite pistols. I actually have three of them. Uh, I have one of the stainless wash, which I think is actually a nickel wash finish. And I've got a black. Both of those are the double stack Firestar Pluses. And then I've got a standard Firestar single stack. And the one I had refinished was the single stack because it was getting a little grungy looking, had a lot of wear, had a lot of scrapes and scars, and the finish was super thin on it, and it was starting to get some color work through it, and it was just looking kind of grungy and ugly. But so what on earth drives a person to think that taking a transferable fully automatic Uzi submachine gun to a gun buyback for a $200 gift card? That is shocking to me. I mean, you're looking at, conservatively, $8,000 or $10,000. Someone was not using their gray matter that day. And it's a sad thing too, because those guns are destroyed when they're turned into gun buyback programs. There's no way to salvage vintage firearms and collectible firearms and fully transferable on the list firearms once they're in the hands of those fantastic people in the gun buyback world. I think it was after the owner died. Yeah, it was. I think it was I think, don't quote me on it. I think they said it was from an old lady, but yeah, brand new Uzi in the box. That is some money. And let's face it, with as fast as our money is just collapsing and going down the shithole for what it's worth, um, money is not the kind of thing I want to be flushing down the toilet like that. So, for all you grandmas out there with fully auto transferable submachine guns, huh. Yeah, they got an '03 Springfield. I saw that. But doesn't everybody have an '03 Springfield? I mean, let's be honest, they are a little bit abundant. Um, some would argue that that's the finest firearm made, and I may argue that it's still the model 1917, but at least they're both 30-06, and they're much, much less dangerous than that AR-15 nonsense. Mm, mm. Those 22s are evil. You'd rather see it illegally on the street. Love you, dear.
See you later.
You have a wonderful night. Be safe. I don't know if I'd like to see it illegally on the streets because then it just winds up in the same spot with the cops and being destroyed. Yeah, I'm here in the 1917 camp too. I love the P14 and the 1917. Those are fantastic in my book, and I've got a platoon's worth of them at this point. I can field a small South American army with M17s. Yeah, oh, they're fantastic rifles. They're absolutely great. And when they're right, man, they're butter smooth, and ooh, those triggers, man, you cannot find a better milsurp trigger, I think, than the 1917. It's got just a perfectly crisp little trigger. Yep, that's one of my guns of choice right there. In fact, a little bit of lore: while the U.S. was making P14 rifles, and Russia was just desperately trying to find rifles of anything that they could field in World War One. The U.S. gun manufacturers making the P14 actually made, I think it was 500 rifles for testing of the P14 model in 7.62 by 54R for the Russian Tsar at the time, and he was deposed, and very bad things happened as a result of that being deposed, and the rifles have never turned up. And I think that is one of the most interesting disappearance mysteries in the gun world is where are the Russian P14s? So I actually have a P14 action that is really, really nice, and I'm going to make a replica of what probably was given to the Russians for trials, just because I shoot 54R, and that's one of my go-to calibers, and a little bit of everything in that caliber is not a bad thing. Yep, Russian surplus. It dried up, and many, many people are sad to this day. And I'll tell you what, go look and see what spam cans are selling for. Holy crap. Should have been buying those just with every penny I had. I should have been buying spam cans because spam cans are just unbelievably priced. I mean, garden variety ball surplus garbage is like $200 or $300 a can or more. I saw a 7N1 sniper. It was $700 for a spam can, one can. Yeah, that's mm, yeah, it's pretty depressing. I mean, back in the day, we could get spam cans way back in the day. I think they were about $30 a can, and that was 15 years ago. 15, 16 years ago, you can get them about $30 a can. And that is crazy. They have just blown up in price. But it is what it is. The government comes in and puts a squash to it, and everybody else suffers. I'm glad the government is here to look out for our best interest because they are doing a fantastic job of it. Let me tell you. But let's be honest. When have they ever cared about the actual people they serve? I'm not sure. Not sure we can find that point in history. First can was like $40. Got it free with a 9130. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember those. Buy a rifle, get a free spam can. Oh yeah. It's scary. I walked into a gun shop and I didn't want to whip out my phone. Sometimes gun shops get a little wiggly when you whip out your phone. And I went to this gun shop, first time I'd ever been there. Didn't even know they exist. And they had two surplus rifles sitting on the rack right next to each other. Can't even make this up. So you've got a Mosin 9130 garden variety round receiver, nothing special. Right next to it is a VZ24 8mm Mauser. The Mosin has a tag on it that says $800. The Mauser, 8mm Mauser, had a tag on it that said $650. The Mosins are now eclipsing the lesser of the Mausers in surplus. That is crazy to me. I get it. The German ones are probably still going to be the premium and all that, but even that, a VZ24 is still a wonderful shooting rifle. In fact, I've got one sitting right there. And yeah, that VZ24 is still an 8mm Model 98 Mauser. Like, it's a fantastic rifle and a very hard hitting 8mm. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why a Mosin has a price tag of $800 and it's priced more than a 8mm Mauser. That just Oh yeah, Big Five. I actually used to or still do. There was a Big Five right near my work, and unfortunately, it was one of the smaller Big Fives. It wasn't one of the like giant Kmart sized Big Fives. It was actually kind of like a little tiny, like drugstore sized Big Five, and their selection was terrible. Just they never had anything worth looking at. Yeah, it's hard to find any like surplus is not out there and not coming in with any great numbers. I guess it's probably not worth it for most big box stores to even try to keep an inventory of them because I mean it's so hit or miss. And I think we can all see that, especially the Ethiopian haul, what's coming in through RTI and all that, the guns are not that great. We're probably seeing just the last ditch held on to forever, way too long. Everything's shot out, everything's broken. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, a lot of the comm block surplus was coming in through Ukraine, and yeah, with the wonderful CIA's great idea of regime change in Ukraine, um, all that just stopped, just cold dead stopped. Not that I think they're actually fielding any of that weaponry, but the steel can be reused and remade into more modern stuff. And when it comes to the ammo, if you're running, machine guns, most of the time you don't really care what you're feeding it. Just grab a spam can, start loading. Yeah, it was. I think if I remember correctly, a lot of our stuff was coming in through Ukraine, and that is kind of a bummer. But I tend to think, like most people, that the days of surplus are probably over. I don't see surplus being restored in any capacity, and I don't even know if there's much out there anymore. Like, we've taken most of the world's stock and supplies of surplus rifles for decades. It's I don't think there's a whole lot left. Oh yeah. I thought that was really funny too. I mean, the first thing Ukraine did was just start chucking guns out to the people, and it's like, if you've got um a well armed populace, you don't really have to worry about countries invading you. And that's one of the, aside from the fact that we've got two oceans, America's really never been invaded, except at the southern border by the great people that come from all around the world to invade our southern border. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? Same thing was happening in Israel. When that terrorist attack happened in Israel, I think I was reading somewhere that in Israel you're allowed to have one gun per household, and it's like, I mean, it's better, but not optimal. Let's just say that when there's a rifle behind every blade of grass, there are no paratroopers. They just sneak across the desert with fentanyl for the love of humanity and wanting to be great people. We love them. The Aleutian Islands in World War II. That is correct. But I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to take that as a legitimate answer. It is part of America. Alaska was not technically a state at the time, and the Aleutians were, let's say, not widely populated. Because, yeah, I mean, if you just step on an island that we says is ours, technically we were invaded. But man, if I remember correctly, it was a little garrison of Marines and a handful of machine guns, and they fought like hell. My God, the story of the Aleutian Islands was absolutely incredible. You cannot. They're they fought like hell, and no hollow points. Eh. The bullet issue will rage on forever. Hollow points, great. dumps all the energy into the target, breaks up, causes more internal damage. Um, yeah, I generally don't use hollow points. I like the fact that no matter what kind of ammo you use, that prosecutors have arguments that that was malicious. It's like Full Metal Jacket. Oh, you wanted to do all the damage in the world. Hollow points. Oh, you wanted to do all the damage in the world. Yeah, you know. Yeah, both work. Hollow points aren't going to penetrate nearly as hard as a Full Metal Jacket, but most pistols aren't going to penetrate much of anything anyway. Eh. The hollow point thing, I think it's for ammo choices. I think it's your own particular proclivity as to what you like and what you see as your requirement for defense. But the way that they're uniquely vilified as hollow points are some evil thing. It's like hollow points are the easiest to defeat with body armor. So I don't know. It's an argument for people much smarter than me. Um, I use what is best accurate in whatever weapon I've got, and that's kind of the way I roll. Um, and hollow points are really effing expensive. Full Metal Jacket is generally just the cheapest. So yeah, it is what it is. It was a territory, but I think it kind of counts. It does kind of count. But I would say invaded would be more like a populated area. So I'll give you a mulligan on that because technical is the best right, but it's not always the right. Okay, yeah, it was our territory. They took our territory. Okay, fine. Yeah, they came across Marines that made them fucking pay for it. They did that, I'll tell you for sure. Oh yeah, Japanese couldn't handle the Aleutian Islands. Oh, not by a long stretch. Aleutian Islands would not be an easy place to set up uh, defensive and offensive maneuvers. It's like it was probably literally like, haha, we're here. Oops, we ran into a bunch of Marines. We got ourselves shot the fuck up. Let's leave now because it's now getting cold and we're getting shot up. And yeah, the battle for the Aleutians was wild. It's really freaking wild. Uh, I just watched over the last week Band of Brothers, and I have never actually seen it. Always knew it was out there, but I just never gotten around to seeing it. I got to tell you, they did a really good job depicting the European theater in World War II. Did a really good job. If any of you haven't seen it, it's like 22, 23 years old at this point. It's worth seeing. Like my recommendation helps any. If it's been 22 years, I'm probably literally the last person to have seen it. I've heard Pacific is great too. Still haven't seen that one. Yeah, it's um, like I said, I'm probably the last person to have come across it and went like, "Oh yeah, I've got time," and just watch like one episode after work. And yeah, working 12-hour shifts doesn't give you a lot of time when you get off work. You kind of just want to curl up and die. And yeah. Hey, Tyler, what's going on, brother? The Chinese spy is in the chat. Uh, Everybody give some love for the Chinese spy. Yeah, so Pacific is next on my watch list. I want to watch Pacific. Of course, being a sailor, I chose to watch an Army movie first. I'm a piss poor excuse for a sailor. Sorry to hear that the holidays are a huge downer, my friend. Make it good for you. Make it good for you. I would suggest, much like I was watching Rackets yesterday. And what's the first freaking topic on his show? Turkey loaf, the poverty turkey. Oh my God, I love turkey loaf. The freaking company got bought out and they stopped making turkey loaf about 2 years ago. It was always something in my freezer. Always kept turkey loaf in my freezer. Never, ever. Oh, it's always good to have turkey loaf. And of course, he goes on a 30-minute freaking thing about turkey loaf and how great it is, except it's all freaking salt and terrible things for you. And never been to the North Sea, but my boat was around the North Atlantic, Greenland, Iceland area. Good times. Good times. Now, that is a winter you don't want to experience. That's when you actually get real cold. If you've never experienced real cold, the North Atlantic above the Arctic Circle, around Greenland and Iceland, that is where the real cold is felt. And we got to do Blue Nose, which is hilarious. Bunch of sailors and their freaking skivvies getting painted blue and ice water dunked on you, and do stupid human tricks on the deck and freezing and blowing, sleeting conditions. It is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Are they piss poor though? Because they actually took some boats. And they actually got some payouts. Like, I mean, they're no like yo ho ho and scallywagon and shit like that, but they did take some boats and they did get some money. But then the U.S. Navy showed up and they really thought long and hard about their life existence in the future and stopped. Because when it comes down to a pirate and the U.S. Navy or the U.S. Marines, I think there's a long tradition of us decimating your asses everywhere you live. Oh, they could have done a lot more. They absolutely could have. I think one of the big key factors as to why we do not see piracy anymore is did you hear the story about the pirates that tried to take a U.S. Navy destroyer on accident? I don't know how big of an accident it has to be, but if you try to take a freaking destroyer, I'm not sure your next to kin's getting notified. I'm not sure there's anything to recover. It is absolutely true. The U.S. Marine Corps hymn to the shores of Tripoli, the pirates of olden times that were taking U.S. merchant marines hostage and selling them into slavery and whatnot. In fact, Fat Electrician, he just did a thing within the last few weeks about the Barbary Pirates. Maybe it was for the birthday of the Marine Corps. Do they even deserve a birthday? Come on now. They're Marines. We'll remember their history. But aren't they hatched? I think so. But yes, the U.S. Navy actually commissioned its first ships to go fight the bastards off of Tripoli. And we fucked them up with great prejudice. We just beat them like a bongo drum. It was fantastic. Leather, you're absolutely correct. The leatherneck name comes from a neckband of leather that they would wear on their necks because the quickest way to incapacitate somebody is to slash at their throat. And that was a very common tactic in the region um, of Libya and Tripoli, is they would just slice at people's throats and necks. And so they wore these big, thick leather neckbands around them and earned the name Leathernecks. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We're second to none when someone's ass needs to be walked inside with cleats on. Um, we generally do not give a fuck. You point and say, bad guy, and the Navy and the Marines are the first ones there, and generally with great violence and furious anger, we win. Yeah, that's how it fucking rolls. And sometimes it doesn't even require a shot being fired. Sometimes it requires us just showing up. And when we show up, everybody shits themselves and says, "Yep, we done fucked up this time." So yeah, it's the Somalis were not the best at piracy by a long shot. In fact, they might just be at the very bottom of the list. But man, they tried. Oh, they were go getters. Like their little dinghy boats and rifles and ladders and everything. And even to this day on YouTube, you can find Somali pirate videos that are just a lot of cargo ships started carrying arms on them and started fighting them off, and they did not stand a chance. Did not. Like, we were decimating them from hundreds of yards out with heavy machine gun fire, and it's just a sight to behold. I will always have a smile on my face when bad guys are getting the pointy end of the projectile. Because let's face it, that's why we designed a pointy end. It's to point out the bad guys. Just throw them really fast. And maybe a tracer every now and again. I agree. I think a lot of that, the maritime laws are pretty crappy when it comes to their own self-defense, especially on the high seas and especially in busy shipping areas and whatnot that are especially susceptible to attacks and pillaging like they are. But you can't convince the world to protect themselves. And that's kind of the story of NATO. Like, let's be honest. Uh, Europe, who has a population larger than America, who has industry that is at least on par with America, and we have to exert our taxpayer dollars to protect them. Not a fan. I just got to tell you, I am not a fan. If your country and people are not worth your protection, why is it worth ours? Oh, I never heard that. It would not surprise me that someone gets in trouble for that. It wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, it would surprise me even more that people were encouraged to tell the story. Because I tell you what, defending yourself and making fish food and going on about your day, it kind of reminds me of the three S's when it comes to endangered species. Anybody know the three S's when it comes to endangered species? This is a really good one. Oh, they wouldn't be walking if I caught them. It would be more of a heaving, kind of a, potato sack, kind of a limp, already dispatched potato sack heaving over the side of the ship. And if you throw it just right, you might even chum up the waters and send them through a screw or two, because that would be fun too. You know what the three S's are there, Joe? I love this one. Doesn't get any better than this. Shoot, shovel, and shut up. And when it comes to pirates, it would be like shoot, scuttle, and shut up. Yep. That is what you totally do not do when you find an endangered species on your land and you're in danger of having the government come deem your land unworkable. So, yeah. Ah, 340s and a tall boy? Those are amateur numbers. We need to pump those up. What am I talking about? I have not had a beer in I think I had a beer last year. I think the girlfriend got some hard cider last summer, and I think I had a hard cider last summer. It's been a while. Yeah, not a big drinker. Never my thing. It never caught on to me like it does some people. The floor is always a good place. Just remember, the floor is always there for you. Happy days. Let's see. What other goodness has gone on this week? Like everything, I'm just amazed at how freaking wild our weeks are. Oh, yeah. Anybody see the story of the Romanian organized crime people that were caught at the U.S.-Canadian border? We're being invaded by Romania. Can you believe that? Maybe they can help make my Romanian PSL run a little better. Any of you crime bosses know how to make a gun run? Come on now. Hook a brother up. You know where to find me. Drunk stumbling. That never gets old. Yeah, Romania is definitely one of those that it doesn't pick sides. It's like, well, who's going to give me the best deal? I'll be friends with whoever is going to hook me up the most. And I got to say, that's probably that's maybe the smartest when it comes to international diplomacy. Like, I'm not going to tie myself to you. Are you kidding? Come on now. I'm not going to go fight your dumb war. Wind up in Spain fighting the Catalonian separatists. Speaking of that, I wonder how long this the Irish parades are going to last. I got to say, I'm kind of shocked about Ireland. That was a good move, Ireland. Not going to lie. But it seems like your government, much like our government, doesn't like you very much because they're calling you all kinds of names. Did business with some Eastern Europeans back in the day. Yeah. Oh, you don't go drinking with Eastern Europeans. Those boys, that's like an Olympic sport for them. I mean, my God. People do forget Franco won. Well, you know why people forget that? Because he wasn't a socialist. He wasn't a D-bag freaking communist lover. So we're just going to hide that piece of history because socialism's so good. So good. Gotta love it. So we got, Romanians coming across the Canadian border. That's all good. Nothing to see here. I regret nothing. Except maybe not getting a couple hours of sleep. Sleep does help. But I've had those nights. Everybody's had those nights. We all know. It's good times for all. Gun ownership hits record high with Americans. Can you believe that? It seems that gun popularity in America is now over 50%. Oh my God. What are anti-gunners going to do? They got to step up their game. They're losing in the courts. They're losing in the popular opinion. What are they going to do? It's not looking good for the anti-gunners, my friends. It really is not looking good for the anti-gunners. They're just, man, they're having a rough year. I would feel sorry for them if they weren't all just lying piles of farm waste. Oh, it's not waste. It's good fertilizer. Yeah. Or septic tank sludge. I did not see the Brady campaign commercial. Holy crap. I'm going to have to go look that up. That is, I always have a good laugh when they come out with something. That is just, oh, I remember a few years ago, they come out with the, even grapists have families, don't kill them and whatnot. And then they're like, oh, that wasn't us. Oh, that was, but, I bet it was. Let's just say they're not the most ethically aligned group in politics. I think we can leave it at that because Did you see that old Obama official berating the poor dude selling food on the street in New York? What a racist piece of shit. Can you imagine that someone in Obama's freaking White House was a giant freaking racist? What a shock. Oh, that was that was hilarious. Uh, I I love it when they think that they can just start talking. Let it fly. Uh, Former Democratic senator declares Trump more dangerous than Hitler and Mussolini. Oh my God. Oh, that is so 2015. Like, really? In how many years you couldn't actually come up with something of substance? I gotta tell you, as you get older, seeing the people that actually lord over us with seats of power in Washington are literally just the most just unimpressive group of people you'll ever meet. Oh, it's amazing just how terribly unimpressive these people are. Uh, hmm. Ooh, Air Force. Can you believe the Chair Force? Uh, Warning service members to avoid a rally that might corrupt your thoughts. Oh, whew. It's amazing. It's actually not. I got to tell you, the just like politicians. Man, when I was in the military, the brass were really underwhelming. When I was in, I don't think that's ever changed. Well, like the Air Force is here to cultivate your delicate Democrat leanings. And yes, they don't want you knowing that there is a pro America rally because we all know those are run by those Hitler and Mussolini types that want to make America great. You know, the America that beat the Hitler and the Mussolini. Um, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the Air Force is here if you want to be a Democrat. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was in school, they had recruiters over all the time. Uh, I just wish someone would have been like, hey, recruiters are like politicians. They just lie. You know, whatever they're promising, whatever they're giving, if you want to serve, go for it. Like, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Actually, one of the funniest things, did you see that the TikTok of that PhD chick who was ranking everybody by IQ points? And one kid was a high school graduate and U.S. Marine, and she placed him at the bottom, and she wound up at the bottom, and he wound up, I think, second out of the group for IQ scores. She had a fucking doctorate and works in uh, biochemistry and medical and whatnot with a doctorate, and she had the worst IQ, less than a Marine. Whew. And those guys eat crayons. I have that on good authority. Like, wow. She could not even reach the level of eating crayons. That is stunning. Isn't that what the Army's supposed to do? Sneak up on you like a ninja? Like, they know. Like, like the Marine was smarter than a PhD. They're going to find you. You can't hide from them. You just got to look for the crayon stains in their teeth. That's how you identify the Marine Corps. Love you, Marines. Oh, what a happy day. You know, my high school was the last high school in Colorado to allow smoking. Yep. Our principal actually went to the state legislature and they actually carved our high school out because I went to a special high school for the special kids. And he was like, yeah, we produce the fucking numbers for you. You leave us the fuck alone. Our principal was a badass. He was. It's hard to be a badass like our fucking principal was. Ain't nobody got a lecture in our high school. You did your shit, or you didn't. It's you. Yeah. I also remember the gas station right next to our school. Boy, they did not give a fuck about carding people. You're 14 years old, and you're like, well, yeah, I'm an adult. Yeah, well. Give me a break. Motherfuckers wanted money. Commerce makes the world go round. It's probably not the best advice. But it's real. Oh, what a beautiful day. Sun's gone down. It is cold. Colorado is freaking cold right now. We got a dusting of snow, and it was just enough to ice everything over. My poor little truck just was not happy. Oh, yeah. I never got carded till I was late 20s, early 30s. Now Colorado has a rule to card everybody, and they actually require you to scan your license to purchase, which some places do and some places don't. So I don't understand how that works, but whatever. Maybe the scanning's just to cover their butt. I don't know. Oh. Fantastic night. So I'm hoping to get a video out this week of my newly refinished little fire star. I love the little fire stars. Oh yeah, I totally agree. I have disagreed with those laws, smoking and drinking and bullshit like that. Shit, my ship had a vending machine that sold cigarettes on the boat. It's the compact, the little tiny compact, little single stack 9. See, it's right here. It's this one right here. Um, yeah, it works as a great little carry. It is so small and everything. And I got wind of a really good holster for it, and I tried it out, and I actually found a really good quality holster that fits the Fire Star pistol. So that's going to be part of the video. It works really slick. Uh, mm. Yeah, I got 2 double stack pistols and 1 single stack. The single stack, I love the double stacks. They actually fit my hand because I got big fucking claws. The double stacks actually fit my hand beautifully. But if you're ever involved in a pew pew incident, you're not getting your S back. So that pistol is gone. And I figure I love my double stacks. I'll carry a single stack because if I had to let one go, I'm going to let go of the single stack. Plus, it's a little bit thinner, a little bit easier to manage. So yeah, I've got 3 of those little Firestar compacts. They are fantastic. My black double stack though has a really crummy trigger. I mean, it is just a wet noodle, and the gunsmith and I are talking about how to make it less wet noodly. And we're probably going to buy a I don't know if you've ever heard of the company All Gun Parts, but they basically retrieve parts kits from guns that were destroyed, and you get everything except for the frame and receiver. So I'm thinking about picking up. They've got a couple of Firestar pluses, the double stack Firestars, on there with the whole trigger and assembly and everything. So I'm thinking about picking one of those up to see if one of the parts is worn and not happy and whatnot. Because let's face it, there's not a lot of parts out there for the Star line of pistols, and that kind of sucks. So I'm thinking I'm going to go that route and pick up some spare parts for it. See if we can make that trigger at least back to factory specs, because the factory triggers are actually pretty decent in those guns. Like they're not like modern day awesome, but they are pretty good. They've got a little bit of take up, real nice brick wall that you come to, and a real crisp let go. And I definitely want that. I don't know what year they went out of business. I know it was what really put them on the path to devastation was the U.S. assault weapons ban, because they basically switched over everything to larger capacity. Like the original Firestar pistol was the single stack. The second generation of Firestar was the double stack, and pretty much everything from that going forward, their 45s. They actually made a 10 millimeter in the last year that they were allowed importation, which I want one of those. It's called a Megastar in 10 millimeter. I'd love to find a Megastar. But when the assault weapons ban came out, they were no longer allowed to import because the magazine capacity. And the story I heard is that they basically no longer had the tooling to go back to single stack, and they would have had to completely retool again. Um, oh yeah, Megastar is huge dollars. I saw one on Gunbroker, and I think it sold for like $1,800 for the 10 millimeter, which is way out of my price range. Like, I'd love to have a little 10 millimeter, but yeah. Laser aim. I don't know what that is. Uh, don't know what that is. I've got a lot of weird guns. I actually had a lot of them over the years. My ex, when we went through a divorce, she actually took one of my favorites um, because that was her favorite to shoot, and still kind of sore about that. It was an FEG little 380 auto that it was made for the South African Police Service, and it had gold inlay etching on the slide that said SAPS on it. And I thought that was really cool. And it was like brand new in the box. It looked like it was unfired, real collectible pistol. And I thought that was really cool. Yeah, that sucked. The other one that she also took, which again, kind of grumpy about, but I had a Helwan 9mm, and the Helwan was made in Egypt and made under license from Beretta. It was a Beretta 52 made under license in Egypt. And that one definitely had the scars that it had been there and done that. But man, it was a Beretta. It freaking ran like a mother. Yeah, I mean, they're fabulous little pistols. I mean, it's a Beretta. It's a Beretta 52. There's no, I mean, it's like, oh, I've got a Tokarev. Well, I've got a Tokarev from Poland. I've got a Tokarev from China. They're all Tokarev. This is the same thing. It's a Beretta from Egypt, and man, that was a slick freaking gun. Yeah, I don't know. Mine definitely had the been there and done that scars on it, and it ran like a champ. It never missed a beat. Little 380 was not that good, but man, that little Hell one was a great little pistol. If I could find another one, I think I bought it for like $180, and yeah, back when Milsurp was Milsurp, paid like $180. I've heard the mags are a pain in the ass to find. One thing I wanted to do but never had the opportunity, I wanted to grab just a regular Beretta 52 mag and see if those would work, because I always only had the one mag. Yeah, oh no kidding. You dude, really there's only like I think two decent buys in the Milsurp world anymore, and one of them I was reminded the other day, if you want a good deal on a Milsurp. I was at the gunsmith the other day, and dude had a 7.7 Arasaka. Those are fantastic rifles. um, 7.7 Arasaka. There's not a lot out there, but yeah, Carcanos are the other one. Carcanos are still really good bargains. The ammo is always hit or miss with a Carcano, but the rifle itself is a very, very good rifle. And just like the Arasaka, I've heard nothing but bad things about Arasakas my entire life, but they are really, really good rifles. And I think one of the big things always comes down to the ammo. The ammo for Arasakas has always been hit or miss. It always has been. Now PPU makes 7.7 Arasaka, and I would really hope that those get some love. But dude walked in with a full barreled action. Oh, ouch! For a 7.7 Arasaka, said he paid $25 for it on Gunbroker. So yeah, that's the Arasaka is still a great deal in the Milsurp world, and it is a fantastic product. The Japanese know how to make shit. They know their metallurgy. They know how to make shit. It's a very strong, very, very good rifle. I don't know. I have a 7.7 barreled action, but I don't have a bolt. I would love to go shooting with that thing to see how good it is, um, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's oh, their handguns were garbage. But let's face it, everybody's handguns were garbage except for the U.S. and Russia. Like, and Russian, I mean, they just copied U.S. and FN to make their pistols. So go figure. But yeah, through First and Second World War, everybody's pistols were terrible except ours. Like, Czech double stack pistol and 9mm Makarov. CZ or VZ 52. I have had the chance to buy a handful of those over the years. And of course, looking at the prices, always should buy Milsurps when you see them because the prices are never going down. But I never liked like the pistol grip was way too wide, like bullet nose to rim. It was really freaking wide, and my big old bear claws don't really care about much of any width, but man, those things were extra wide, and that was always kind of a turnoff to me. And I've got a lot of stuff in um, I just totally derailed myself. But yeah, that's definitely one that's still. Oh, I think I'm confusing them. Not 9 Makarov, the Czech pistol in 25 Tokarev. The one in 25 Tokarev, I think, is the VZ52 with a super wide freaking grip. I think the Makarov is the one that's actually comfortable to hold. Yeah, the double stack version, that's the super rare one that Brandon Homeboy found on the at the pawn shop, or where a buddy of his found it at a pawn shop, and he did a video on. I got him mixed up. I can't believe that. I'm such a I'm fake news. Did you hear that? I'm wrong. Yep, VZ52 Toki. Yeah. The Toki, I don't like that. That pistol grip is way too fat. The Makarov, though, the Makarov is a really nice gun. Yeah, I would totally get a Makarov. Again, I remember when Makarovs were nothing. I remember when they were in Shotgun News for, what was it, like $189. I don't think you can touch a single stack Makarov for $300 or $400 or $500 nowadays. Oh yeah, that's what's great about them is not only can you afford them, but they're also battle tested. Like, they do not accept garbage anymore. Back in World War I, pistols, a lot of militaries would be like, buy your own shit. So you had a lot of just mix matched, all kinds of weirdness. World War II kind of standardized shit, leave your shit at home, we'll give you whatever you need. But post World War II, there were really, really good pistols coming out of everywhere. Oh yeah. Oh, they were super cheap. Dude, right now, my little Nagant revolver, just a little pocket revolver, weird caliber, weird gun, a little gas seal BS and all that. $99 all day long out of Shotgun News. I can't even remember who it was. G&G Sales, maybe. Whoever, $99 for years. $99. Go look on Gunbroker right now. Those are selling. Those are bidding up and selling $700-800 for a crappy little revolver. Yeah, you can shoot those. The only thing that I found with those is they're not easy to find. 32 Smith is not an everyday cartridge. What I've actually done is take the brass once it's fired, trim it down with a 30 carbine trimming tool, which would trim it down to 35 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. But you trim it down to 30 carbine length and then load it like a normal bullet. So it's basically like shooting the 32 Smith out of it. It's not going to have the gas seal. It's not going to be, suppressor ready. But you can reload it for just pennies. No, it's not. You trim it with the 30 carbine trimming die. So you take, quite a few millimeters off of it. And then size it with a 30 carbine sizing die, because the dimensions of the 7.62 38R Nagant and the 30 carbine are literally almost identical. One has a rim, one doesn't. That's the only difference. I actually do this all the time. I've got a box of my own handmade ammo over there. Yep. No, don't put a 30 carbine round in the Nagant. You can't put a 30 carbine round in there. The rimless 30 carbine doesn't work. Plus, it's way overcharged. You'll blow that gun apart. But yeah, you size it with a 30 carbine. And I actually got many, many years ago a bulk purchase of 30 carbine bullets. And I use a 30 carbine trimming tool, size it with a 30 carbine die, stick a 30 carbine, 90 grain bullet in there. It works fantastic. Yep, every day of the week. Yeah, no, don't use a 30 carb. Don't use load data for a 30 carbine. No. Just size it and trim it to 30 carbine. You will blow that gun apart. You probably blow half your hand apart if you load it to 30 carbine specs. I mean, I think the load on it is like 3.5 grains of unique powder. 30 carbine is actually a pretty smoking little round out of a pistol. Yeah, you don't mix those two. But yeah, if you go back, I think it was one of the first videos I made was how I make Nagant ammo. And yeah, I just take actual Nagant cases and trim them and resize them with the 30 carbine trimming and sizing dies. And yeah, it works out great. You don't have, like I said, you don't have the gas seal, but it's a revolver. You don't need a gas seal. Yeah, it's a neat little trick. I've never seen anybody doing it, but my Nagant, I think the where the brass goes into the barrel has been worked a few times, because the brass wants to expand just a little bit in the cylinder or in the barrel. And then when you go to take the brass out of the cylinder, it's really sticky. It's really kind of a pain to get the brass out of it. So that's why I come up with loading it just like a normal revolver, is because mine would just expand the brass just a hair coming out of there, and then it sticks. And rather than trying to fidget with a barrel or anything like that, I just said, F it, I don't need the gas seal, just make it like a regular revolver. And it works fantastic. It really does. I love it. I love the little revolver, but I don't love it $800 worth. Like that is just wackadoo. Oh yeah, they are. They're it's a neat concept. But yeah, after a century of those things being drug around the world and in this war and that war and every other war, it you know like everything, parts wear, and the gun's still good. It's not, the cases aren't like off center. The lockup is still, the timing in the lockup is still dead on. It's just, every little bit. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. But yeah, I had nothing but freaking problems whenever you wanted to reload, and you had to put some effort. So yeah, I come up with the idea of just making it just a little bit smoother. And boy, it flies now. It doesn't care. The brass comes clean out. Everything's great. Oh, I've never heard of those. I would love to see that sometime. What year is that? Was that like pre World War One? Now it's kind of ringing a bell. Like the early ones may have been single only, or maybe it was like a specific use, like a naval or artillery or something like that, that didn't need the double action. Huh. Yeah, that did kind of ring a little bell there. That would be I. Oh, oh yeah. So you don't get scared and just dump your gun. Silly peasants. Hmm. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Mm. Yeah, I dig the little Nagant revolvers. I think they're pretty neat. Well, they're $99 neat, like every day of the week. Oh yeah, yeah. There's no reason at all not to. But nowadays, you can't find Nagant ammo anywhere. I stashed away. There was some guy on Gunbrokers selling brass way, way, way back in the day, and I just kept buying brass from him. And I think I've got like 1,400 cases stashed away to make Nagant ammo. But once I started trimming them back, I've been running the same 100 cases ever since. I have never busted into the stash. I've never split a case or broke a case or anything like that. It's really soft on them. Like they used to split necks like crazy because of the gas seal and how much crimping on the end of it they would have to do over the top of the bullet. It would split a case like nothing. But once you trim it back and load it like normal ammo, it don't care. I've never heard a case. Husqvarna, yeah, they made Nagants for a couple of countries. I wonder what it was chambered in. Yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, that's nobody made ammo except for the manufacturers back in those days. That was not a thing. 7.5. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that I'd have to go back to see an arsenal and see a video on that exactly to remember. God, those guys are just crazy with the history. I love those guys at Sea and Arsenal. They do a fantastic job on these guns. Oh, so the PSL. If you haven't seen Nine Hole Reviews, Nine Hole Reviews did a. Oh yeah, I've been watching them forever too. See, 9 Hole Reviews did 2 videos on the PSL, and both of them were underwhelming, very, very underwhelming. And one of the reasons why I'm trying to make a PSL that actually works. Vintage Rifle Shooters Club, the dude with the heavy, thick ass Eastern European accent. He did a review after 9 Hole Reviews did, and his rifle was dead on accurate. And I had a thought in my head that the dude in Vintage Rifle Shooters Club, he had a silencer on his PSL. And I wonder if that extra weight deadened the harmonics of the barrel and allowed it to actually shoot better. Now, I'm absolutely not qualified to come up with ideas like that. I am definitely not smart enough to come up with ideas like that. But I wonder if, because that was really the only difference between the two PSLs. They're both factory builds, unlike mine, which is going to be a Frankenstein parts master. But you'll see that soon, very soon. But he had a big can on his, and I wonder if that helped keep the barrel from jumping around. Because there's a couple of ideas that I've bounced off with my gunsmith as to what could be causing the terrible accuracy that a lot of people have experienced. I mean, 9 Hole Reviews is not unique in getting a terrible grouping from a PSL, especially when they start to warm up. And Vintage Rifle Shooters Club, he actually, I think it was on his channel, or he's got another channel, the AK Union channel, AK-47 Union channel, something like that. Oh, I'm not doing him justice. I am so sorry. But a lot of people have had difficulty getting the PSL to not just throw bullets in random directions. But his had a can on it. So that just made me wonder, would the can actually settle the barrel down? Because you're adding, not a ton of weight, but you're adding a little bit of weight on there. Maybe it's just enough to hold the barrel steady so you're not just lobbing bullets in any random direction. I don't know. Something that just caught my eye and made me go, could be. It may be. I don't know. I have very limited experience playing with cans. For me, some of them were, yeah. There is no doubt. A good handful of the Comblac guns were designed to run with a can. This being an infantry support kind of DMR style rifle, I don't know if it would have gotten a can. Again, that's knowledge well beyond my expertise at all. But it was an interesting thought because maybe it does help chill the harmonics down a little bit. I don't know. I don't like the idea of spending a boatload of money on a good can, waiting 6, 8, 9 months here in Colorado. Trust me, all my FFL buddies are all can distributors, and they're constantly trying to get me to buy a can, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like 8 months right now. Like, I don't like the idea of dumping money like that and just waiting. But That's me. I'm not a sound snob. I don't mind. Obviously, in my shooting videos, half the time I forget my earplugs. So obviously, I'm not a sound snob. It doesn't. It is what it is. Uh, but um, I did find that interesting. Maybe it would be worthwhile to go back through his past videos because I know the vintage shooter. He's done many videos on competitions he's done with the PSL. Maybe he's always had a can on it. Maybe I have to go back and look and see if he's always had a can on it. They did. Their weapons are really um smart and reliable. They're not always the most accurate, they're not always the best, but they will never fail you. And that's what when it comes to comm block rifles, it's one of those. It's like you look at an AK and its manufacturing is like a quarter that of any Western weapon. Like put an AK up against an FNFAL. Yeah, there's like a quarter of the hours into an AK than there is into an FNFAL. They're very stout, very strong, very reliable. Yeah, it's good enough. That's exactly it. It will throw the bullet downrange. So it's not like I have an affinity for comm block weapons, kind of like Brandon. Um, I kind of like the bolt action rifles and the older stuff. Really, kind of a World War One, World War Two kind of guy. But the AKs, you cannot like. There's a reason why they proliferated around the world. They're simple to make. They're simple to maintain. They freaking work. They do the job, and that's not an easy task because you look at the weapon of the West, the M16, and all of its down tree variant of the M16. Um, Vietnam had tons of problems with them. Desert Storm, tons of problems with them. The Iraq War, tons of problems with them. Afghanistan, not as much. But they, they're they're very well made, but they're very picky about the environment. Oh yeah, it's definitely old tech. Like there's no doubt about it. It's made to do the job. Very much so. Um, the AR being in the Bay of Pigs, I'm no AR historian, so but yeah, when it went to Vietnam, I mean they were handing out condoms to put over the barrels to keep Gorch out of the barrels and keep Gorch out of the gas system, and you had to keep them really clean, and you had to like all kinds of stuff. And during Desert Storm, I remember talking to people that were like, yeah, the sand. There's not a lot of goodness to keep the sand in and out of the action. So it's very much um, the AK does not care. It really doesn't. Um, I wish there were better tests out there to test rifles like that. Like you see people doing the mud tests and all that stuff. Everything fails in the mud test. That's kind of why it's there. But over lubing and the sand sticking to the lube. I remember everybody was talking about the sand. Everybody that I talked to was talking about the sand. Maybe the sand was sticking to the lube. I don't know. I don't know. But they did actually, now that you mention that, they did come up with all the dry lube stuff um, that works a heck of a lot better. And obviously, they've come up with adaptations that's kept the weapon system in service to this day. So they're overcoming the shortcomings that, yeah, see, um, that's exactly it. But they're coming up with solutions to keep the weapons platform running, and that's good. There's no doubting the supremacy of the AR. There's no doubting it. It's very accurate. It has a very good life expectancy for all of its components, including the barrel. I think nowadays, what 5 or 10,000 rounds out of a barrel is very common. Oh yeah, that's always going to be a thing, though. I mean, everybody's always going to want to be the mall cop. It is what it is. Um, really, it's just going to slow them down. There's only one thing you need on your rifle, just one thing, and that is a good optic. That's it. That's all you need. Well, okay. Let me. Two things for me. Two things. A good optic, because I don't like most iron sights anymore. Um, I'll still hit a target with an iron sight, but I'm way better with an optic. Um, and a forward grip, something that I can really get my forward hand, on the grip and really nicely held, and that's it. You know, so a good, maybe an LVPO and maybe a good mag pull, angled forward grip. That would be my go-to, but that's it. Period. The end. I don't need tack lights. I don't need a little mini bayonet hanging off of it. A2s, yeah, I don't know the generation. I think that was still, is the A2 still the carry handle, or is that the flat top? See, I don't know. I don't know squat about the AR history. I know it's a weapon of war, and everybody needs one. Yeah, fixed carrying handle. That one had the really good sights on it, didn't it? It had the flip sight, the close in battle sight, and then I think it was the 300-yard battle sight, and then it had the um, elevation adjuster right under it. Maybe, if I'm remembering correctly, but I am no AR expert. Don't take that for gospel unless I'm right. If I'm right, take it as gospel. Yeah, that's the one. I thought that was the one. Like I said, I'm no AR expert, but yeah, you cannot deny that ARs do what they're supposed to do. So, yep. But yeah, I want a forward grip for my hand, because I don't like the round plastic of the standard M16 kind of round plastic. Plastic fantastic. Give me a little bit of an angle grip on the front end of it, a nice lightweight handguard on it, and a little optic on top of it, and that's all I need. And make sure it's an AR-10, because if you're gonna play around, at least get the bigger bullet. Come on, like, do we have to justify this? I mean, that AR-15 is so dangerous. It's so dangerous in civilian hands. It's a weapon of war, guys. Get the AR-10. It's 5 points safer than an AR-15. Can we agree on that? I think we can all come together and agree. The AR-10 is much safer in civilian hands. So let's go AR-10. Oh, I agree. The 5.56, it's kind of it is it's the utility round. Um, I like big rifle cartridges. That's why I gravitate towards the AR-10. That's all. You know, there's no doubting 5.56 is um, it's a tested and true friggin' thing. And even the Russians said it was far superior than their 7.62 39, and they came out with the 5.45 39. So they actually copied us and where we were going in ballistics and whatnot for wars. So yeah, it's the 5.56. It does what it's supposed to do. I just like bigger rifle cartridges. That's all. Cuba pattern AR-10. Oh, I've heard that. I cannot. My brain's not pulling up a picture in my inner dialogue. I can't think of what that looks like. Um, I'll have to just look that up. Yeah, I can't think of the Cuba pattern. But yeah, it's I like the AR-10. I'll go with a full size rifle cartridge. That's all good. Well, heck. I think it's going to be a good time to call it a night, guys. InRange did a video or gun. Jesus did sometime. I'll have to look that up. I'm always watching InRange and Gun Jesus. Never miss. The Old West history that InRange does, I find absolutely just awesome and fascinating. I think he does a great job. Gun Jesus, obviously. Like, how do you beat Gun Jesus? He does dabbles his hands in everything. So, oh yeah, the vignettes rock. Absolutely. Plus, he goes through the little tutorials about how to safely load the black powder Old West pistols and some of the lore about them and this, that, and the other. I find that just really neat. I'm not a black powder guy, but I find it really neat how they do stuff. You know. All right. I think we're going to call it a wrap for the night. Right on, Joe. You have a good night, brother. Hope you have a great weekend. And for everybody else out there, I hope everybody likes the way their holiday. Hope everybody had a great holiday and hope everybody has a great weekend. And everybody have a great, safe week next week. And I'll have videos out. I know I've been slacking. Have not been posting very many videos. I know it's just work is killing it. Like I've got just work. So I've got videos lined up. I need the time. Videos are coming, guys. Everybody have a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.